Well, China hawk Elbridge Colby, who also happens to be the Pentagon's top policy official, wants America to refocus its military on countering China rather than Ukraine. The Wall Street Journal is reporting this morning that a memo sent by Colby to Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth last month raised concerns about its depleted stockpile of weapons when its position in the Western Pacific needed to be boosted. That brings us in. Joining us now is political analyst Joe Siracusa. It's good to see you this morning as always, Joe. So if Elbridge Colby is more concerned about our region, which seems to be the case, why would he be playing hardball with us?
Good morning, Pete. Well, he's being kind of naughty here. I mean, I met this guy a number of years ago at a conference we held here in Melbourne on nuclear weapons, and he's got kind of a playful nature. I mean, by asking the Australians to pre-commit their nuclear submarines to the defense of Taiwan, which, by the way, is indefensible. I mean, there'd be a war over Taiwan after Taiwan is lost. The Chinese have superiority in the region. Is kind of beside the point. You know, if Colby had read the AUKUS treaty, it says that both parties will make a decision in accordance with their constitutional processes. So, you know, the Prime Minister of the day here cannot commit Australia to anything in advance. And of course, Albanese should have had advisors who said to him, look, he should have said, I don't answer hypothetical questions like that. Well, I mean, of course, though, Australia will go to war with the United States wherever it goes, because it's gone to war with them since 1914 everywhere they go. So, you know, they're not going to escape this. But it was a question to sort of to torture the Albanese government, which, of course, didn't know how to answer the question.
So do you think that was done deliberately from the US, right when the Prime Minister's in China?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Colby is probably listening to people who say, look, behind closed door, the Labour Party's not too hot about this kind of thing. It probably not fully committed to AUKUS, has always been slightly anti-American about these kinds of things, slightly more diverse than the Liberal or the National Party and that kind of thing. You know,
well, we just don't want to spend any more on
rubbing it in
on military either. They're not really into. I mean, they say that it's incremental rises, but they're not really going after huge military increases in terms of spending that other countries are doing, which would no doubt frustrate the US.
Yes, it would. I mean, Australia's not spending what the United States wants them to spend. But then again, NATO powers will never spend as much as the United States spends on military power. But look, Australia does a lot of other things. It allows American troops here on Australian soil and spying missions, you know, that is satellites and things like that, and to pre-position ships and planes. You know, it does a lot of important things that other people don't do. But this idea of getting Australia to commit, Pete, I've been here 53 years, and Australians they're not going to turn this place into a fortress because Bridge Colby decides to put the heat on them. But the Prime Minister, he didn't know how to answer the question. And the question is, I'll answer that when the time comes. But there's no doubt about it. The United States and China are headed for war one day in the near future, and Australia is going to have to make a decision down the line.
And that might be a question for someone whoever's down the line. I mean, the point that I've been raising too about this whole subs thing, Joe, is that, you know, if we're being asked to declare what we'd use our subs that we'd purchased from the US in the event of China moving on Taiwan. But, I mean, the general consensus is that China would move on Taiwan long before we get the subs. So it's kind of a pointless ask.
Well, it is. It's kind of a non-sequitur. It's a nonsense kind of question. And if the subs were in the region, they'd probably get sunk anyway, because, you know, China has predominance in that neck of the woods, particularly in the Taiwan Strait. Look, to ask people if they're going to pre-commit something is like, you know, asking someone at a wedding ceremony, you know, are you sure you're not going to cheat on me? Well, the fact that you're there in the alliance already tells you that you belong there. I mean, but, you know, this idea that you want another commitment, you want someone to say so, and you want to do it publicly, actually. And so, you know, Albanese probably figures that Colby's trying to embarrass the Australian government, and that, Pete, is exactly what he's doing. He's trying to embarrass the government into saying they'll pre-commit to any damn thing that he wants. And of course, Australia's too smart for that.
All right, well, that's interesting ahead of this AUKUS review.